Okay, let's look at the homework 5.1, problem number 4, right? I actually forgot to talk about the upper sum and the lower sum, so I'll do it here. Right, so these are actually quite simple concepts, right? So when you determine the height of each rectangle for the lower sum, you pick the lowest possible point. So for example, if you look at this first rectangle, first interval, then you look at the function value and look for the lowest function value possible within that interval. So in this case, this is the lowest point, so use that to determine the height of the rectangle. For the second one, you can see that the lowest point is here. You have a rectangle here, and so on. So that will, if you add them up, that will give you the lower sum. Right? And upper sum is simply you pick the highest point to determine the height of the rectangle, highest point, and so on. The sum of those rectangles, some of the areas of the rectangles, will be the upper sum. All right, so let's do that for, let's see, function f of x, 2 plus sine of x. All right, so if you go down a little bit, all right, so this is the correct graph of, 2 plus sine of x, right? So you can see that the lowest point on the first interval from 0 to pi over 2 is actually at 0, so it's 2. So this is not going to be the right picture. And you can see that the here is not going to be the right picture since you're looking at the highest point here. So for the lower sum, the correct picture would be this one right here. You can see that you're using the lowest function value to determine the height of the rectangle here. And here, on the second interval from pi over 2 to pi, we're looking at the lowest point to determine the height. Right? For the upper sum, you look at the highest point, which is right here, to determine the height of the first rectangle. And the same here for the second rectangle, you are using the highest point. So this is the correct picture. So we should choose that. Right? Then go back and okay, so if you want to find upper sum is going to be this triangle, rectangle, plus that rectangle, right? So its a height is 3, and it goes all the way from 0 to pi, so it's 3 pi, right? So it's 3 pi is going to be the upper sum. Oh, here, upper sum. Let's see, let's make sure that's the right value. I'm pretty sure that's the right value. All right, so 3 pi is going to be, so let's see, 3 times pi is equal to 9.42. So 9.42. Right. Then lower sum, if you look at the picture here, the height is 2, and it goes from 0 to pi. So it's 2 times pi, 2 pi. So you can see that the 2 pi is going to be, so it's 2 times pi is equal to 6.28. 6.28. Right? That's how you do that. So upper sum, you use the highest point to form a rectangle. And for the lower sum, you use the lowest value to form a rectangle. Right? That's it. I hope that, and the rest is pretty much the same. So I bet you can do it on your own. All right? That's it. I hope that this was clear.